Welcome to LSBU Talks, the new visual podcast from London South Bank University. Today we have got Ola Obadara with us. She is a graduate of our School of Built Environment and Architecture. She graduated in 2000 and she's here to tell us about her time at LSBU and what she's been up to since then. Thank you so much for being here. So we're going to start off by talking a little bit about your background before LSBU. So you were interested in interior design, weren't you, beforehand?
Yes.
So what then made you transition into going to LSBU to study architecture? How did that come about?
A fantastic lecturer called Marina Adams.
Yeah.
So I was in college at the time doing a design course, and it was the 90s and it was all the rage. Every program on TV was about, new curtains, Lawrence Llewellyn Bowen was everywhere, that kind of stuff. And I was like, yeah, that's what I'd like to do. And London South Bank University had an open day. I came along to the open day and I said, look, I'd like to do interior design. Said, oh, that's fine. And she said, did I do physics, or I think you have to have physics or fine art or something to kind of join the course. And I said, no. She said, then you'd have to kind of do a foundation course. Mm-hmm. And she said, look, once you finish the first year, I'd write you a letter of recommendation and you can go to University of North London and do interior design. She said, because we don't do it here, but the foundation will be, you could use your foundation anyway. Okay. So I fell for that. Little did I know, and I'll tell you the story later, little did I know she had a different agenda, which worked out perfectly for me. So I did the first year of the course and I passed. And then I went to her after that and said, look, can I have my letter of recommendation to go to North London? And she was like, actually, I think you'd be a much better architect than you would be an interior designer. I was like, I was expecting this letter. She was like, from what I've seen, I think you'd make a fantastic architect. And she said, look, go on and finish your course in architecture, and that's what I did.
Oh, and so it didn't take much convincing then, or was it kind of like it took a while to decide, or were you enjoying those aspects that fit into architecture?
I was enjoying it, and I need to be careful how I say this, but in addition, the other thing which kind of made the decision for me was I thought, North London was so far away. I've got to go through Zone 1, and that's more expensive on the travel card.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Seriously, that's how basic that decision was. I was like, oh God, North London's quite a distance. So.
But sometimes it is something like that then kind of like defines what then happens for the rest. Which is, so are you South London based then?
I was. So at the time I lived in Brixton, so I could walk to, because my campus was Wandsworth Road, so I could walk down if I needed to. But the one thing I said Marina did not tell me at the time was she was trying to get more women onto the course. Yeah. So that first year was a purely women in architecture course. So we're all women on the course. Wow. And it was fantastic because we were in a comfort zone. We were able to kind of go into the workshops, and not have any bit of self-consciousness at all. We could use, because there's this thing about going into an environment where it's a male-dominated environment and you feel so self-conscious. You're worried about using the equipment, whether someone's going to laugh at you. I don't know how to kind of use, some of the technology there. But because you're all women, you felt so comfortable amongst each other. And by the second year, when we did mix with everybody else, we were kind of in our elements. Really, we kind of knew what we were doing. We knew where the labs were. We knew how to use all the equipment. Woodwork, and I just loved materials from then on.
Yeah, that's one, because I do think there is something in kind of like, it's not that you don't belong there or that you shouldn't take up space, but it's learning to take up that space in that kind of comfortable environment and then move it. So was it, when you did go into that, it was absolutely fine?
It was absolutely fine.
That's wonderful.
And that became my safe space, to be honest with you. The one space in the university which I loved going into was a workshop. Yeah. I was fantastic materials. I think one of the things I excelled was making models. So the moment it opened, I was in there and I was probably the last person out. So, whatever material it was, whether it's timber, resin, glass, that was in my element.
Do you remember any of your letters? Is there anyone that stands out to you from your time, apart from Marina?
You asked for one, but I'm going to mention two. So Marina, who I've already mentioned, she was, amazing, got me onto the course, and not just did she get me onto the course, she actually was almost like a mentor all the way through. So even when I wasn't in her lectures, she would come and check up on me, how are you doing, do you need any help? She was absolutely brilliant all the way through. And my head of year, my final year, Mary Jane Rooney, she was absolutely brilliant as well. And not hidden, so my final year I got pregnant.
Wow, okay.
And I went to her and I said, look, this is what's happened. And she was absolutely supportive. And she was like, I'll be with you all the way through. Whatever you need to do, I'll support you. And she did. She was absolutely brilliant. Until I graduated, she was absolutely brilliant. Yeah. So, yeah, Mary Jane Rooney.
Oh,
and both of them, both women, both of them were fantastic architects as well.
So tell me then about being pregnant and then finishing your degree and then going out into the world. What was that like?
I went to work straight
Yeah.
afterwards. I think I had my daughter about 2 weeks after graduation.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
And yes, I was quite lucky. I got a job with, they were called Alexander Gibb at the time. And I was doing railway architecture, not the most exciting architecture, but railway architecture. That's what I started doing. And yeah, I just coped. I had, a young daughter, young family, and was working full time as well.
Yeah. And you enjoyed it. So railway architecture maybe not the most exciting.
It wasn't too bad.
Okay.
Yeah. So the tiles on the platform of Kennington Station. Claim to fame.
There you go. To be fair, I love that. Next time I'm there.
No, there were also some fantastic buildings as well. So I was working in partnership with companies who did Crossrail at the time, and it's quite interesting because I started my career doing Crossrail in Canary Wharf before it was built, and later on when I was working for Bupa, we took one of the buildings there and actually did the design to kind of fit it out. So yeah, so it came full circle.
Nice. Did you find that? Because obviously you've been in that safe space with your female course mates at LSBU. Was it different than going out, or do you think like you gained that confidence that you thought, actually no, I own this space, I belong here too? Yeah. Like, how was it?
The safe space was only for a year, so it wasn't for the whole course.
True.
So yeah, so for the rest of it, we're mixed. And the thing about LSBU is we were actually mixed with other years as well. So in your second year, you're actually in the same studio as third year students. So, but that was fantastic because it gave you that training. So you'd come in on a Monday, and everyone would have to kind of pin their drawings on the wall, and you'd have to talk about it to everybody.
Oh, that's scary.
And you'd have what we call a crit, and you'd get literally criticized in front of everybody about your drawings. But if you do that every Monday for nearly 5 years, by the time you finish against the world of work, you're really prepared for whatever they throw at you. So that was really, really a good training ground. As for it's still a male-dominated environment. I work with the Chartered Institute of Building at the moment, trying to kind of get more women into into construction. It was hard then. It's still hard now. And it's not hard because people aren't coming through the the courses, because there are women coming through the courses. It's harder the moment you finish and you try to get into work. That's where everything kind of the support is still not there. I was lucky I had people around me, other mentors to support me, people who gave me a chance. My first job, I think my principal architect was an LSBU grad as well. Hey. So that was lucky.
Yeah.
But it's people being there to kind of support you, because even now the industry is still difficult. We're still, I think next week we have a debate on to try and get protective equipment for women. Can you imagine how many years down the line we still haven't got PPE on site? Yeah, for women. So we're still fighting for that. It's only recently we started having toilets on sites for women. So we're still kind of, trying to kind of push it out the door. There's still a long way to go, despite people thinking that, equality is where it should be. There's still a long way to go.
Yeah. Is there anything that you've noticed that you think current students could benefit from knowing?
I think in the current climate, the one thing that would get anybody who's graduating in the construction industry or the built environment through the door is sustainability. I'll say sustainability. Climate change, it's a real issue that we have to address. And if you can come with the skills that help address it, innovative ideas, and you're willing to work at it, there will always be a job for you, whatever the gender, whatever minority that that you have. So it's really focusing on that. If you can come with that kind of skills in industry, the doors will open for you.
Yeah.
Other than that, as I said, it's really somebody taking a chance on you. I think somebody just took a chance on me. I didn't look like the typical architectural, student when I graduated, but somebody just took a chance. And by this, I'm actually pleading to people who are in industry, please take a chance on people who are not the typical architects you'd expect to employ. Take a chance. There's absolute, gems out there that you are not aware of. But if you don't give them a chance, you'll just never know.
So we'll move on a little bit more to your career now, and just like that journey and where you've been on since finishing LSBU. So you mentioned Bupa a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what you've been doing since graduating?
Okay, so as I said, I started working with Alexander Gibb, doing architecture for a few years. And then I moved into construction management. Okay, I lied, I didn't just move in. I was, and in architecture is quite hard. You're there churning out drawing after drawing all the time. And I'd probably been working for about 4 or 5 years. And I went to this meeting. I was really tired. My drawings weren't up to scratch. And this man came in. I won't mention his name. Okay. And he was asking the engineers, where are your drawings? Where are your drawings? And everyone was panicking and kind of putting their drawings on the table. And I said, what's he, where are his drawings? What does he do? And they said, oh, he's a construction manager. I was like, that's what I need to that's what I'd like to do.
Oh, wow.
And then I started on to get into construction management. My director at the time, the late Will Alsop, because I was working with him at the time, he actually paid for my master's to go and do my in construction management, and I moved into construction management. And from then on, I started doing lots of mainly commercial buildings in the city for law firms.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that for a few years. And then I went to work for Bupa. That was a fantastic opportunity. I was doing buildings all over the world, clinics, hospitals, care homes. Got to travel to Saudi, lovely opportunities. And I did that for about 10 years.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I was appointed to the City of London Corporation as a group director of property projects, where I deliver some amazing buildings in, whether schools, heritage buildings, social housing, which is fantastic. So I'm really lucky to have a lovely portfolio of projects to deliver.
Yeah. And do you find that you still have the same passion for it as you did when you were studying?
Even more.
Yeah.
Because now I go around the city, there are buildings that I worked on which are being demolished.
That is,
true. So you think, oh God, how dare they? I'm going to do some more. So
there you go. Make another
no,
one.
but yeah, even more.
Wonderful. Move on now. I want to talk, because you're actually on our board of governors.
I applied for it, and I really wanted to do it. I really wanted to kind of give back to London South Bank University, because I think, the course of my life and my career, definitely, London South Bank University played a massive part in that.
Yeah.
And when we started this conversation, I was talking about, the course I went on, which was women's only. I was quite interested in finding out whether that still existed. Mm-hmm. And if it didn't, does it exist in maybe other schools? Does it exist in a different form? Because I think it's really, really important to give women a safe space to kind of learn. And I thought, look, if I kind of join the board, there might be other initiatives, especially as, I've gone through the journey as well, that I can actually add and bring to the board and try and make things happen. So that's why I joined the board. It's a fantastic board. I think we work well with the executive team, and lots of initiatives are put on the table. We have some very healthy debates, and I think as when I was a student here, even now, I think LSBU just do a fantastic job in changing people's lives. Yeah. So it's not just about getting a piece of paper and getting a degree. It's what that does to the people who get the degree and how far they're coming from and where they're going afterwards. I think that's really important, and LSBU, I think, do it more than other universities, if I'm honest with you. The one thing that I noticed when I was a student is that LSBU cares so much about the students, and that hasn't gone away. So it's not just about, I'm not, knocking other universities, it's not just about the results and how many students you churn out, but they really, really, and have always done, care about the students themselves, their well-being, what they achieve when they leave, and how much of an impact they have on each person's lives. And they take that as an individual, so not just collectively. So I think that's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, no, that is wonderful. And I think you're right. I think it is something special about us, that it is very much, we care about our students and we want them to go on and thrive. And that's partly why we're doing this, because we want them to be inspired and be able to see where they can go and what they can do, which is wonderful. Yeah. We just wanted to talk briefly now on what it's like to be a part of the LSBU alumni community, like any aspects of it that you enjoy, things you'd like to do maybe.
I don't think people realise how important the LSBU alumni is in my industry. Now, I'd say throughout my working career, probably about 40%, if not more, the people I meet in the built environment are alumni of the LSBU.
Wow, really?
In my current team, 2 of my assistant directors are alumni. We have apprentices who are still in university who work in my team. And in the built environment, wherever you go, LSBU has a fantastic reputation, which for some reason is probably underplayed. And I don't think people realise how important that is. So for me, I've had such an easy road having LSBU on my CV. People might not believe that, but in my industry, it counts for a lot. Oh, wow. As I said, my first principal architect was an alumni. It does count for a lot. We do produce some fantastic graduates, and they go off into the industry and they do fantastic things. Most of the top architects, engineers, building surveyors are all alumni.
What advice would you give to students who are just about to join LSBU or are thinking about joining LSBU?
For those who haven't yet signed up, what are you waiting for?
Yes, look at that soundbite. We love that. Yeah, it's true. You can find us on YouTube and Spotify, so please stay tuned for our upcoming episodes. We can't wait for you to hear them.